Independence Day. As the country celebrates its 75th Independence Day, politics has erupted on Partition Remembrance Day as the BJP is celebrating today, as the BJP is commemorating today. They've tweeted out a video in which they are talking about the horrors of partition and how it affected the country 75 years back. The BJP has taken in that same tweet potshots at the Congress party. I'm going to read out for you what they've had to say in that tweet. They've said that those who had no knowledge of India's cultural heritage, civilization, values, pilgrimages, in just 3 weeks, they drew the borders between people living together for centuries. Now, in that part of the tweet, they're obviously referring to the British. But right underneath that, they've also said those people at the time who had the responsibility of fighting against these divisive forces, where were they? That is being seen as a potshot at the Congress. My colleague Maria Shakir, our political editor, is with us right now to bring us a lot more context on this story. Maria, if you could bring us more context here, both the BJP and the Congress have, over the last few decades in their long history, repeatedly gone back to independence and talked about each party's role at the time and in the years since. Could you bring us more context to this particular comment?
Yes, so India is observing Partition Horrors Remembrance Day. This was a tradition which began only last year by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government, which is essentially about paying homage to those who lost their lives in the communal riots during the partition of the country, and also at the same time hailing the resilience and spirit shown by those who suffered from the partition. The Prime Minister has tweeted. Several leaders of the BJP and chief ministers of BJP ruled states all have put out tweets, including Himanta Biswa Sarma, who is Assam Chief Minister. This observation of, Partition Horrors Remembrance Day, it was declared only last year, which, then the government started remembering it. And we are seeing this potshot now being taken between both the sides, talking about how the darkest moments in India's history, where partition actually wreaked havoc to lives of millions, and there are those who played a role in it, talking essentially in the context of how the Congress, which has a role in the entire freedom movement, has much to explain. We are seeing BJP tweet out videos remembering the horrors of partition. Response has come from Jairam Ramesh, who is now the media head of the Congress party, and others. So they are essentially talking about how, essentially seeking responsibility, accountability from those who had the responsibility of fighting against the divisive forces. What happened to that? So I think this issue will only escalate because today, I think, because it is being marked as a Partition Horror Remembrance Day, it will only escalate today.
Maria, thank you for that. My colleague Nikhil is also with us right now. Let's go over to him to understand more about the Congress response to this. Nikhil, I believe we've had responses already come in from Jairam Ramesh and a number of other Congress leaders. Could you point us to them?
So, Toya, as per the details, the reaction has now come out from the Congress party as well, because if you go by the tweet which has been put out in the public domain, particularly in the social media platform Twitter by the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have clearly targeted saying that where were those people at the time of the partition who had the responsibility on their shoulders to struggle to fight against those powers who were dividing India back in 1947. So now the official revert has come from the oldest party, Congress party. They have clearly said that this is the intention to play politics over such crucial issue, and this is also a hurting sentiment of the people, of the lakhs of people who actually had to go through lots of sufferance at that time. So the the tweet which has been put out says that the real intent of PM to mark August 14 as Partition Day, Remembrance Day, is to use the most traumatic historical events as fodder for his current political battles. Legs upon legs were dislocated and lost their lives. So this is something where the BJP party is playing politics. In fact, they are the ones, and many of the leaders in the Bharatiya Janata Party, currently they are, there are so many leaders in the Bharatiya Janata Party who also play the divide and power rule. This is something which is the tweet which has been put out from the leaders of the Congress party. But apart from it, we have been mentioning since morning, and as mentioned by Maria Shakil as well, that today the Bharatiya Janata Party is going to celebrate, in fact going to observe, so to say, the Vivishika Diwas, and the program has has been scheduled for the same today at about 5 p.m. The BJP President JP Nadda along with Delhi BJP Unit Chief Adesh Gupta, they are going to carry out silent march in the national capital Delhi. The march is going to start at about 5 p.m. and from Janpat, as we have been told, in fact, Jantar Mantar to A block inner circle market in the Connaught Place. The distance between the two is just a few meters away. So they are going to carry out the silent march in the evening to remember the horrors which were faced by lakhs of people at that particular time. So this is something which is now being seen in the national capital Delhi, not just in Delhi, but in entire country. The leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have been asked to carry out the Padyatras, and also on the social media platform, they should put out the tweet that how the people actually suffered back in 1947. So there are so many programs which have been lined up today in the national capital Delhi, which we are going to see in some time from now. Back to you, Toya.
Nikhil, I'd like if before we move on, you could also walk us through the last few months, because typically every year, right before Independence Day, you do have this back and forth take place between the Congress party and the BJP, an exchanging of jibes. Most recently, we saw the BJP launch the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign, and you saw the Congress make a number of responses where they referred, for example, to the RSS, and they said, you know, you don't have senior leaders in the RSS putting up the Tiranga flag. So we have seen a political atmosphere around Independence Day for a little while now. Right now, we have none.